Welcome to the Mindset Chick podcast. If you are looking to stop settling and want to gain the clarity and confidence to manifest the life and biz of your dreams, then this show is for you. I'm your host, Kristi Deer, sharing with you simple yet powerful and effective mindset tips that will allow you to attract more abundance, prosperity, and success into your life. So get ready, get excited, and let's go manifest some amazing things together. Welcome back to the Mindset Chick podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. And today we're going to continue to talk about activity, talk about taking action. And we've talked a lot about mindset action, doing the mindset steps, a daily mindset routine, and visualizing and tapping and doing the Magic 5 morning mindset and, stepping into, the gratitude frequency and waking up with a grateful heart. But today we're going to continue talking this series about, taking action, like really jumping into activity despite fears, despite, maybe the feeling of judgment or failure. And with me today, I'm so excited. I have one of my BFFs, my best friends, and we've been friends for, as she likes to say, a million years, about 20 years. And it's just so cool. We really connect and we share a lot of the same values and thoughts and beliefs. And we actually work together. We're on the same team and we just have so much fun building our business together. So she's with me today, Victoria Alexander. So I'm so happy to have you here with me. And she's actually here with me at my house. So yay.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. And how cool is that? We are sitting right by one another.
Right by each other. This is really cool. Yeah. And so I want to talk about, how do you just jump? Do you just jump into activity despite the fear or the self-doubt?
Well, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes that is true. Sometimes you don't jump and you do nothing. And then that's a choice. You can do that.
Yeah. And so honestly, that happens to me sometimes. And so I just wanted to say that just in case somebody was like, well, I've had all these opportunities and I didn't jump. Is something wrong with me? But
right.
There's really nothing wrong with you. You're just maybe overthinking it sometimes. I think that sometimes we do get that initial feeling of excitement, like, yes, this is the right thing to do. This feels really good in my heart. This brings me joy. I could see myself doing that. And then all of a sudden we pause and then we get in our heads and then we're like, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. And then you just kind of freeze and you don't do it. I know that's happened to me. Yeah. And I'm sure that you've worked with a lot of people where that happens too as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like, so for me, and I know we're a little different, like on how we take activity. And I guess it just depends on like what activity we're taking. But for me, a lot of times it's like, I just kind of jump and then, think about it later. But I feel like when you jump into that activity and you get going and you start doing it, it creates that habit. And also, I mean, you know how I feel about failure. I've talked about that on my podcast about, I don't feel like you really fail. It's just, perception. But, whatever that looks like, however you want to label it, that failure or that past, struggle or expectation that didn't go well, like that was a learning process. So it's like jumping in and maybe you didn't do it exactly how you wanted to, but you learn from it, you grow. And then you find new ways and then you keep going and you keep going and you keep showing up. And that consistency will actually help you to feel more confident, like, doing it, right? Jumping in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the thing that pops into my head is whenever I lost 30 pounds, just doing that daily activity, right? It's like, I didn't really think about it a whole lot. Honestly, I just went into the direction of this is really feeling good. I am working out every day. I'm making healthy choices. And I was just running in the direction of like the bliss, right? What was bringing me joy. And then all of a sudden it was like 30 pounds were gone. And so I think, if you just jump into wherever your heart is feeling like it's guiding you, then you really kind of don't have to know where you are or like know how you're going to get there. You don't have to know. You just have to go. right?
Yeah, I like that. You don't have to know, you just have to go.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, yeah, you don't have to know, you just have to go, because just follow your heart, right? And then you're going to end up eventually, and this is what's happened to me, is that you're going to eventually start to have that belief because of the consistency, because of your daily choices, because they're adding up, and then you're getting stronger and stronger in that belief. And then you just keep going. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I just lost 30 pounds like last night. And it like,
I love that. Sign me up. No.
Yeah, totally.
Happens overnight. But no, like that's the same thing, like eating healthier or going, having that routine, going to the gym or whatever, and you have that end goal, like doesn't happen overnight. It's that consistency. It's creating those habits. It's creating those new thinking habits. It's creating those new, like, physical habits where you're showing up. And like I talked about last week, like showing up for the job that you want, not the job you have. And it becomes a habit. And that can totally change everything for you in your life and will allow your goals to manifest. And I was doing a team call last night and I was talking about fear. Everybody has fear, right? And there's a good fear. There's a fear that comes up when you're maybe standing too close to the edge and you feel like you might fall over a cliff. And that's that fear that's like, hey, don't take another step or you could fall off a cliff, right?
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
You don't want to do that. There's a good fear. But then there's also fear. It's like a false sense of security. It's this fear from, feeling like we may fail or we may be judged. And the fear is there really, honestly, to keep us safe, loved, and protected. It's saying, hey, don't take that step because you might fail. You might embarrass yourself. You might mess up. What will people think? And so when you do take action, despite that fear, you're creating, like we just talked about, you're creating that new habit and you're saying, you know what? I'm okay. I got this. And on the call last night, I was saying, what I love to do is notice that fear and actually bless it and thank it and say, thank you so much for trying to keep me safe, loved, and protected and showing me that something might happen, but that's just a story. And, I don't need, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to let go of that story that no longer serves me. And I'm going to step into a more empowering story and tell myself a story of, hey, what if I succeed? What if this is, the opportunity I was looking for? What if taking this step, I'm able to meet the love of my life? What if this is the moment that I'm going to shine? Like, what if? So just taking that fear, blessing it and letting it go and reminding ourselves that, our mind is a tool, but we're the boss and we can shift and change our story, anytime that we want and jump into a more empowering story,
Yeah, I agree. I think that whenever you start to get too much in your mind, then you need to remember, I made a post about that today on social media, and that the mind does play tricks on you, right? And so that part of it could be fear, but when you become aware that that's going on and that fear is just the false evidence appearing real, right? That you can just kind of have that out of body experience kind of thing, look at what's going on, become aware of it and be like, okay, hey, this isn't real. This is just me with whatever my beliefs are at the time that are keeping me, like you said, from maybe experiencing the best thing that you've ever had happen in your life. And usually whatever you fear the most is what you really need to bust through and go after the most, because that's probably what is going to be definitely the best thing that's ever freaking happened in your life. So if you've got that fear, kind of get excited about it and be like, holy crap, I've got fear. Yes. Let me see. Let me become aware of this. Why do I have this fear? And what's this about? And let me just bust through that crap and go for my dreams, right?
I love it. Yeah, just bust through it, because we've heard, that usually our goals and, our manifestations, things that we desire to create, are on the other side of fear, and that's why a lot of people, I feel like, stay stuck, because they have these big dreams and goals, and then they've got that fear and they identify with the fear. This is me. This is me. This is me. I can't do this. This is my voice talking. But really being able to identify that, hey, I don't have to be attached to this story. This is actually just a story. And it's a story, false sense of security trying to keep me safe, loved, and protected, I can bless and release and step into that more empowering story and, go back to doing that Magic 5 morning mindset and, creating an affirmation, I'm so grateful and thankful that, that goal, that affirmation that aligns with where you're going and not what's happened in the past or where you are, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I love Four Agreements, because he really talks a lot about domestication, and I think once we become aware and realize that the domestication is just something that took place in our family, but it doesn't have to continue. That story doesn't have to continue in our lives today, that we can say, hey, that's not who I truly am. That's who I was taught to be, but that's not who in my heart I am, right? So if you really kind of have that meditation time and prayer time and discover who you truly are. I'm still kind of discovering that.
And that's okay. I am too, every day.
Yeah. And so I think, when you take time for yourself and you discover who you truly are, then you can move in that direction. And then maybe the fear is going to come up, but like what we talked about, you can bust through that and overcome it once you realize that that's not who you truly are, and that was probably some domestication and some limiting beliefs that you like to talk about too, that you put on yourself or somebody else put on you, right? And you can just take that power back and take that control of your mind and say, no, not today. Not today.
Yeah. Not today. Go away. Nope. And, I was thinking too, like baby steps too. Yeah. I think sometimes when we have these goals, these desires, we think, oh, wow, I've got to go from A to Z, but just like baby steps and just taking one little step every day towards your goals, getting in that habit. It doesn't have to be this huge step, and then appreciating those steps, saying, wow, look, I showed up today. I got out of bed. I did my gratitude. I did my morning mindset. I got dressed for the job that I want,
Mm-hmm.
and I spoke kindly to myself today. Those are amazing things to be proud of yourself for and congratulate yourself and be like, every day I'm getting closer and closer to my goals. That's my mantra, every day I'm getting closer and closer to my goals, and just appreciating even the baby steps.
Yeah, definitely the baby steps totally add up. You take your baby steps. I mean, hell, sometimes you just crawl, right? Even if you just crawl.
Yeah, and that been there.
Even if you're just crawling, you're still moving. So crawl, take the baby steps, then you walk, then you run, and then you jump, right? That's how it works. And so how beautiful is that once we just let go of the outcome, because a confused mind says no. And so I know if I look at the whole big picture sometimes at once and I'm like, I got to do all this. No way. Nope. I'm going back to bed. And then if you just pause, say, wait a minute. Let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. Sometimes, if it's too much for you to handle at that time, take the baby steps, have that feeling of what you really want to accomplish, and move in that direction of what makes you feel happy and what brings you joy and what you have a peace about. That's what I like to always talk about is what do you have a peace about? Move in that direction. Don't force it. Move in the direction of peace. Crawl, baby steps, walk, run, jump.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And speaking of jump, you are jumping into creating your own podcast, which I'm super excited about, and I cannot wait to listen. It's going to be so magical. And the story of how that came to fruition and is coming to fruition is pretty incredible. And I'll let you tell it.
Okay. Yeah, it was pretty amazing, actually. And I think that, a lot of times all the steps that you're taking, like what we talked about, lead you up to your big moment, right? And I prayed about it. It was one night I was on my bike ride and I prayed about having a divine direct intervention kind of thing, like a divine direct message to point me in the right direction of where my heart was kind of telling me where to go. And then I came over to your house and we were having a birthday party for one of our good friends. And it was like 3 or 4 hours in. And I also prayed that morning. So I prayed that night and that morning, same prayer. And then came over here and then 3 to 4 hours into the party, you're like, oh my gosh, I had a dream about you last night. And I was like, you did? And then do you want to tell that part?
No, because I don't remember that part.
Okay. See, it was divine speaking right through you. You can't even remember it. You just downloaded it and delivered it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And so you said, I had a dream about you, and I saw your book. I saw the title on your book. I saw that it was black and white with a pop of red, and I saw that you were doing your podcast, and then you were like, just freaking do it already. And I was like,
funny. I don't even remember this. I love it though. I love this story because I'm like, well, that does sound like me.
It totally was you.
It was me.
And you didn't know I had said this prayer. So when you said that, like, it jolted me, like, bam, there's your divine direct message. And I was like, yep, that's it. So I immediately asked you, some questions about your podcast since you had already jumped. And then I spoke with the lovely contact that you gave us, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
She's so amazing. So to talk to her, but before I got on the phone call with her, I sat out on my patio and I got so overcome with fear. I'm not even kidding you. It just took over my body. I probably haven't felt this much fear in my entire life. And I started crying, and I just had to stop and say, Victoria, the fact that you have this much fear, you better freaking do it. And I gave myself chills when I said that. And I was like, okay, let's talk to her. I talked to her, and I at first was like, I don't think I have anything to share. And then she started asking me questions, and then I opened up more and started talking. She's like, yeah, you have something to share. So again, that was that domestication coming back in, that self-doubt, that old story that I always used to tell myself about not being able to accomplish things. Because I was honestly looking at your stuff and I was like, there's no way I can do that, which is also called comparisonitis, right? And so when we do that type of stuff, when we compare, when we have those limiting beliefs, when we tell ourselves the old stories like you like to talk about in your podcast, then yeah, we don't really go for what's in our heart and what we really should do. No matter what you're feeling, you lose out on that opportunity, and the world loses out on what you have to offer. And so anyway, that was the story, and I jumped, and that's happening.
Love it. I love that you jumped and you continue to jump despite the fear, and I can resonate with that. And I'm sure you can too, listening, despite that fear, just jumping and saying, yeah, I love that when you're like, if Victoria, if I have this much fear, if you have this much fear, then there's something, then you're meant to do this. There's something so big and great on that other side. You don't have to be attached to the fear of the story. It doesn't have to be you. You can release that. You can jump into a more empowering story. And you know what? You have so much wisdom to share with the world. You really do. And we're talking now, and when we do our Facebook Lives, and, we just talk as friends, there's so many golden nuggets in there. And I can't wait for you to share with the world. And even you listening, everybody has something wonderful to share with the world. We all have this beautiful, wonderful light and to share with the world. We're all meant for great things. And the only thing that holds us back is us, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say it. If you have something that you're wanting to jump into and you're ready to kick fear to the curb and say, you know what, fear, you have no control over me, I'm going to say what I said to Victoria. I love to even just say JFDI. Say it with me. JFDI, just freaking do it. And whatever I said, I was divine download, I guess, you know?
Just
it had to have been because it just spoke through me and I said it, and it's exactly what you needed. But, JFDI, just freaking do it. Ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? You know, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. And there's and usually it's not.
Whatever
even bad. Ask yourself, what's the best thing that can happen?
Yes, I like that even better. That was even better. What's the best thing that can happen,
Yeah, because the best thing is that you're going to step into your purpose and you're going to help impact others, no matter what it is, no matter what it is. If it's in your heart, just freaking do it.
Just freaking do it. I love it. So that's how we're going to end it today. JFDI, just freaking do it because you are meant to do great things. And I always say, whatever is put on your heart, whatever you're really feeling in your heart, I believe is God's way of showing you what's possible. It's your truth. It's where you're meant to be. So that's why I love to end this podcast with follow your heart. And thank you, Victoria, so much for joining us today. And if people want to, connect with you more and listen to your amazing podcast, where can they find you?
Well, my podcast is called You Are the Magic Pill, which I'm so excited.
I was going to take that.
So excited. I had that place on my heart. You'll have to come tune in with me to find out what happened when I followed my heart on that, where that divine download came from. But you can go check me out on youarethemagicpill.com as well. So I'm excited.
I love it. I love that title. How many of you guys like that title? Because that's true. You are the magic pill. So love it so much. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember, friend, to dream big, follow your heart, and never give up on you because you're worth it. Thank you for joining me today on the Mindset Chick podcast. I hope this show has you waking up every morning excited about the new manifestations you have created in your life. And if you would honor me with a 5-star review over in iTunes, I will happily enter your name in my Mindset Chick swag giveaway. Make sure you add your name to the review and I will reach out to you if you're the winner. I really appreciate you spending your time with me. Be sure to visit me at mindsetchick.com for past episodes and more gifts that will help you to manifest your dreams into reality.